Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, thank you. So we start. Good morning. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Taylor and Professor Dr. Bodo, Dr. Shakil, who came all the way from Germany for this important workshop. So I would like to welcome at Kathmandu University, Delhi main campus, and I hope the 2 days workshop will be very fruitful for you who are working in the environmental sector, especially for monitoring of different environmental components. So please have a seat. So to start with this, what is the objective of this workshop and what are the things that we are going to incorporate in this workshop that will be explained by Shakil, and probably you will know through this 2 days workshop. But I would like to highlight to you on the importance of this environmental monitoring, especially from the natural resource perspective. That's why I have a small presentation on natural resources and environmental monitoring. When you talk about natural resources and environmental monitoring of our own country, first we need to understand about how rich in terms of different resources about our own country. Sometimes we read that we are very rich in environmental resources. We fall in 25th place in the world in terms of different types of biological resources in the world. We are rich in that context from either flora, fauna, or different types of ecosystems, different kinds of people, the culture, the natural heritage, and so on. But sometimes we lack information about them, where they are, what is their status, whether they are good in quality, or how much they are there. We know most of our high mountains are in our country. World's 8 highest peaks, or more than 8,000 peaks, are in Nepal. But how is the condition of snow? Whether it is melting very fast or it is in normal condition. What happens when this snow melts? Whether it will affect overall flow of our rivers, and that flow may affect the agriculture system or the hydropower projects that are being built downstream, and how it affects the overall aquatic environment. Again, how is the condition of the water, whether it is useful for drinking purpose or irrigation purpose or other purposes. Sometimes we do some sort of research or some sorts of monitoring, but we lack that kind of information. And this information has to be generated first. Then again, we need to use that information in the best way. That's why, though Nepal is very rich in resources, and we call resource-rich country, but how much resources we could actually utilize and use for the humankind. That is very much important. And when we talk about these questions, we always ask ourselves about where are these resources? Are they located in a particular place or distributed throughout the country? Of course, each and every resources are not distributed equally throughout the country. And wherever these resources are, even if we know the exact point or the location, we lack the quantity and quality of the resources. Okay, just to give an example, the river which is flowing through Kathmandu Valley, the Bagmati River, we say it is very much polluted. What does this very much mean? In which aspect? It is based on the amount of organic matter, about the pH, about the conductivity. What do you mean? Okay. For that, we need the real information which we could monitor about the different parameters in the water. Then we can say, okay, this is the status of Bagmati River. And not only the river or the water, it's also about the different forests, trees. We say that we are very good in saving or conserving forest, and we could use this conservations in terms of carbon sequestration or carbon trading, and we could trade it financially. But actually, how much carbon is sequestered by our forest systems in real time? Maybe we are degrading somewhere. There may be illegal cutting of the trees. Okay, so what is the actual rate of forest biomass change? And how can we trade that? Or how is the wildlife trade? We say different types of wildlife are in our country and where they are located. How is their population? How is the rate of either increase or decrease? That are some of the questions. Similarly, our environment is changing. As we know, this is a dynamic process, and the new threat is there about the climate change and how climate change is going to affect all these kind of resources what we have. And that is very important because we are agricultural country, and the climate change will affect our agricultural system, and that may affect on our livelihood, because we don't know when the rain will come, what will be the amount of water in our irrigation system. Okay, so these are the questions which we actually need to know, and some of these informations are monitored by some people, some researchers, but it is very much not in a compiled and aggregated or total form. Just to give another example, you could see the country which consists of large number of minerals. Okay, so we have different kind of mineral ores, from gold to silver to iron, okay, where they are located. So this gives us an idea. But how many of you know that this kind of resources has been extracted and used for the overall development of the country? We have these resources, isn't it? So we have generated the data about their ability at a particular location, but still we don't know how much, what is the condition, of what quality these minerals are there. Okay, so this could be another example about the protected areas and the wetlands in the country. So we could see these are, and whether these wetlands are of good quality or good condition, or the type of species which were present earlier is still there, or it is already endangered, or it is already been lost. That kind of information are very much important for us if we would like to use this kind of natural resources for ourselves, or to claim ourselves as we are a rich country. How many of you can tell me how many wastewater treatment plants are there in our valley? Have you heard the name of wastewater treatment plant or not? Besides that? No. But actually, there are more. Vesari, Kutku, Dharmighat, Hanmanghat, Salagari wastewater treatment plants. This is the information recorded at a particular time. Whether they are working, or what is the condition, what kind of wastewater is being treated, how it is influencing the condition of the rivers, or the condition of the people, or the city. We don't know. So these all kind of information are very much important, and we need to monitor. That is the real need of monitoring what kind of things are in the country, how you could utilize them. However, there are also challenges of monitoring, especially in our country, because of the inaccessible terrain. Our terrain is very much diverse. If you just walk 1 kilometer, you'll find too many types of terrains. And to go there, take our sampling kits, sample or stay there, and have the regular information is very much hard or difficult, and it's also cost expensive to do that. Similarly, we have very sparse and disconnected data. Many researchers are doing their work. You can see many PhDs, masters, other projects, and so on. That kind of research are going on. But where are that information? Can we make connection between all these informations or not? That is also very much important. And sometimes some of the informations are not accessible to us because some people, they don't want to share the information. And another is our whole environmental systems is complex and dynamic. And whatever you have measured last time or a few minutes ago, that will remain same after you measure. And because of this complexity and because of the ecological systems in the country, if you monitor something in Kathmandu Valley, it is not same in Dang Valley or Panchkal Valley. You have to do each and every places, from Tarai to high mountain. Everywhere it's different. That's why the number of the monitoring station or the weather stations, just to give an example, we have many weather stations at different places, but they are not enough because of the complexity. And another, of course, is very important component is the finance. The government, they have different priorities. Instead of monitoring or doing research, they may be focusing on our basic components. So that's why this monitoring, in-mountain monitoring, is challenging for us or in Nepal. Whatever or wherever we have some data, some people are doing work, but whether that data is enough for us to make some sort of environmental decisions for policy making systems. Of course, if you monitor in situ or in a particular place, if you gather information for a particular time, that might not give you the overall scenario of the environment. So you need to combine this with satellite data, because both has both positive and negative aspects. And if we combine them, that would give a broader picture of the condition. Though we are not here to compare between which one is good or which one is bad. That is not our objective. But it is very much important to have the local data which provides you the actual condition of that component in a real time, and the measuring points are known, or you can decide as per your need or wish, and you could keep how long you would like to monitor. So that provides you the in-situ data. But if you need a broader aspects, because if you monitor Bagmati River and try to extrapolate that to the overall Bagmati River system, that might not work, because the river in Karnal Valley is different than the same river flowing after the valley. So for that, either you need to monitor from source to end, which might be costly, or you need to extrapolate through some of the larger area or the larger catchment, and that is possible through the satellite data, because that has a large coverage, and you could also get data from different times, and you could also have a optical radar or thermal images, and that images can be computed, and you can tie up that kind of images to gather the information of the different periods. Okay, so this power of combining these two data is very much important, and that could help you to have the decision making. So today's workshop is also about the data that we are generating or getting ultimately leads to the decision making process or the policy making process. Otherwise, it cannot help the governments or improve the condition if we would like to work on it. So the data for decision making is about the resource explorations, meaning where the resources are, how we could use them. Okay, just to give an example, which are the best place for rice cultivation. As I have shown you the data, where are the gold reserves in our country that could be best utilized for us? So we can explore this for our system. Similarly, environmental management, we could also manage the environment through the data. Just to give an example, we are thinking about forest reserves, and some people might be illegally cutting the trees. If we wait for satellite data, or if we wait for the results, then that might be too late. So through the satellite data and through the real monitoring or making some sort of this point data to satellite data, you could know whereas these kind of activities are going on within days or week. So you can take action. Similarly, disaster risk reductions. We are very much disaster-prone country. If we have some sort of indications like trips in the some hills or mountains, or the condition of the snow melting, or the expansion of the glacier lakes, we can understand, or we can predict whether there will be a Gulf disaster. And we could also monitor the rivers with our sensors, which gives you the real condition, and that would help to predict about some sort of disaster, and that could save lives. Okay, and the sensors that we are putting at particular places might help as a early warning systems. Okay. Similarly, the climate adaptation and sustainability data that could help to predict about what kind of agriculture systems that we follow, because the climate is changing, the weather condition is changing, the monsoon pattern might change, and to overcome that situation, we may have to have the agriculture which can tolerate the extreme weather conditions. Okay. So in that case also, we could use our data for making some sorts of decisions. And these are some examples what will happen in the environmental systems. So we think that forest could save and help to minimize the landslides or erosions, but not always. So this was the earlier picture, and after that, this is about this floodings, okay, for same area before and after mudslides, okay. Similarly, the river channel. So in 2009, the river was flowing this way, and 11 and 18 you could see. So these kind of changes are happening, and this sometimes is not possible by the field monitoring things. It has to be through the satellites. And sometimes what is happening in the real situation about that data is from the field. So monitoring is very important, and combining these two systems is very much important for the sustainability of the resources used. So let the mysterious resources be known and planned for their best uses, and let combine the ground data with historical or satellite data to overcome uncertainty, risks or damages, and for future predictions. That is very much important, and we're working on it. And let's combine the individual effort to a group strength for a sustainable environment. And I hope this training will give you all kind of this information. And it is not only about the lecture. It is about the hands-on practice, which you will work on the real data, which has been gathered by this experts in Tirusuli River. We are using that data, Tirusuli River. And you could apply that in your context, wherever you are working. Or you could think of the new areas, and we could overcome the questions that we are asking at present. We don't have data. We don't have money. We don't have resources. And we are just saying in a general way that we are rich in natural resources. So with these workshops, I hope we are not just saying we are rich in resources. We will be saying we have enormous amount of resources of this amount, this quality, and this could be used for this purpose. So I hope to have that kind of answer from you after this workshop, and I wish all the success of this workshop. Thank you very much.
So, thank you everyone for coming today. The first thing I want to do is to, let's see, can I use this? Do it this way. I want to introduce the three people who will be mostly leading the workshop. First, Shakil Regmi, who is in Finland at which university is it? Applied? It's a very long name.
Yeah, it's a long name. From Southeastern Finland, University of Applied Sciences.
Southeastern Finland, University of Applied Sciences. Yeah, very long.
Yeah, in abbreviation it's XAMK, X-A-M-K. So
yeah.
That's easier to remember mostly.
Great. And on this side is Dr. Bodo Bookhagen, who's at the University of Potsdam, as I am as well, who's been working here in the Himalayas for 20-something years now, who's a big expert on remote sensing and also fieldwork. And myself, I'm Dr. Taylor Smith, also at the University of Potsdam, and I have been working in the Himalayas and the greater High Mountain Asia region for now 10, 15 years, and specifically we've had a project, the three of us together, over the last few years here in Nepal. So what we want to do today is first we're going to have this introduction, and then we are going to go straight into our practical exercises. And in this morning up until around lunchtime, Bodo will be teaching us about how to use GNSS data, so GPS data, to monitor water vapor, so how much potential there is for rain, and monitoring where storms and things like this might occur. So to give us some context from our side for what we have been working on and what motivated this project that we've been doing over the last years, is that there have been very, very big changes in the last decades in High Mountain Asia. So this is from one work a few years ago looking at trends in snow water storage. So it's not across all of High Mountain Asia. It gets warmer, so there is less snow. Am I standing right in the way of this? You guys, maybe this is better. Can everyone see now? Yeah? Okay, good. So it's not that when it gets warmer, there's always less snow. There's a lot of places that are really, really cold. So if it goes from -10 to -8, it's still snowing, right? And when the air is a little bit warmer, it holds more water, so it can bring more snow into certain regions. And what we found is that these changes in snow water storage and changes in snowmelt, we can see them also in the rivers. So this is looking at water temperature trends from the last 40 years or so. Over the blue basin is the Sangpo, and the red is the Central Himalaya, so the one that is mostly covering Nepal. And if we take out the average temperature from this whole time series and look at the direction of the water temperature trends, they are all going up. So the waters in the Himalaya are warming quite a lot. And if we look on a much more detailed scale at a map, the darker colors here are the rivers that are warming more, and the lighter colors are warming relatively less. There's very few places where the waters are getting colder, as you might expect. But when we look at the direction of the trends, the warmest places, the places that are warming the most, are exactly these very high elevation areas up in the Tsangpo and in the Sutlej and in the upper Indus Basin. The high elevation places with lots of snow is where the river temperatures are warming the most. Alongside these changes in the rivers from snow and glacier changes, there's also been a lot of changes in vegetation. So on the left, this is just a trend in vegetation greenness, so how much chlorophyll is the vegetation having. And on the right, this is a trend in how long the vegetation stays green. And both of these maps are showing very, very positive trends. So the vegetation is getting greener, and it's staying greener for longer. When it's a little bit warmer and there's more carbon dioxide, the plants are actually quite happy, right? Especially in these higher elevation places, the plants start moving up. But when there's more plants and they're growing bigger, they also are using more water. They're taking more water out of the soil. So this is changing how water is moving through the landscape, and also how sediment is moving through the landscape. We also see, looking at some in-situ data, so looking at some station data to combine with our satellite data, that many different catchments in Nepal have a negative discharge trend. Discharges are generally going down. But at the same time, average precipitation tends to be going up. So there's more rainfall and less water coming out of the river. So somewhere in there, there's a change in how the water is stored, when it's released, and how much is used. Some of this is human use, some is hydropower, but some is also probably this warming and the vegetation taking more water. So these changes are occurring at all sorts of different scales and at all sorts of different parts of the river. Finally, this is some work that Bodo was working on in the last couple of years, looking at how sediment budgets have changed. There's a lot more sediment coming out of many of these high elevation rivers. So when the erosion gets more intense and you have more intense storms, it pushes much more sediment into the rivers. I'm sure that you are seeing also in the news all the time of the landslides and these things. Somewhere that sediment gets to the river and it is going downstream. And that has very big impacts for hydropower projects, for water quality, and for other infrastructure like roads and drinking water infrastructure. This kind of large-scale change, we can also see at a very, very local scale. So this is a much more detailed view in the Trishuli looking at how the color of the water has changed. So if you look at the color of a river and it's very clear, there's not much sediment in there. And if it's very dark and very muddy, you can say that there's probably a lot more sediment being transported. And we can see on these average maps that some parts of the rivers are much clearer than others. And in the trend maps here on the left side, there's some places that are getting less sediment and some places that are having more. And these big changes from positive to negative tend to be right around where the big hydropower projects are coming. So when they put in those big check ponds and the other infrastructure, they trap the sediment. And that also has a large impact on how the sediment that's eroded very high from all these landslides and other processes is moving down and providing nutrients also to the river downstream. So this is the kind of work that we've been doing in the last years, trying to look at these very big scales and then relate them to the much more local scale focuses. So the project that we've been running over the last couple of years is called the STRIVE project, and we really want to just understand how climate change has been impacting the Pali rivers. And in particular, our focus catchment has been in the Trishuli. So we've been looking at changes in snowmelt, river temperature, water quality, and how much sediment is transported in these rivers. So that is the context from our side for this workshop and the kind of data that we want to share with you and the kind of methods that we want to show you how we are using and show you how to use also for your own research. So we want to learn something about these sensors that we've been building and putting in the Trishuli. How do we construct them? How do we install them? How do we use this kind of data? How can we prepare this kind of data to compare to satellites? How can we use satellite data together with this in-situ data, exactly as was explained in our previous introduction here? And then we also want to have a focus on using online data. It's not always easy to have very big computing resources and download 50 terabytes of data, these really, really big data sets from satellites. That can be very tough. But there's quite a lot of great online tools where you can access these data sets, do some processing, and only receive the results. So work with much smaller data sets by using someone else's computing resources. So this is something that we do a lot, to work with very, very big data sets, and we'll do quite a lot of work on this tomorrow. And then finally, we are quite open to discussing all of your individual projects and all of the things that you guys are working on. We're showing some methods and data that we've used specifically, but the methods are quite broad. So if you want to follow along all of the exercises with your own data set, or your own study river, or your own region, that is totally fine. You can use the same kind of processing here to work on your own projects. All of the data and the workshop materials and these things are on this GitHub page, which should also have been in the workshop outline that we sent around. If not, everything that we are working on here will be online there. So you can download this data and download the notebooks and these things that we'll be working from over the next couple of days. And that's it from our introduction side. So we now have, I think, another 10 minutes scheduled where we can just make sure quickly that anyone has any problems with their computer setup. And then Bodo will start with the GNSS data. I think we're pretty on schedule now. Let's see. Let me stop.